All right, everybody. So today we're going to talk a little bit about social media links and icons on your Volusion site. And it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to say sort of exactly what your site looks like, but a lot of the newer designs we've been working with, the footer looks a little like this, and I think I'm just going to zoom in just a bit so you can see this better. The footer is this section right here. Let me circle it in red. So you know what I mean when I say footer of a website. It's the bottom portion of a website. And guys, what's usually found in the footer of a website? Usually there's some navigation of some sort, right? Like this right here. There's usually links. I'm just going to call this, we'll call this nav, N-A-V. A lot of times you'll have some copyright information down here at the bottom. That's pretty common. We'll have an opt-in email section here oftentimes. And then last but not least, and what we're going to discuss for just a few minutes today, is this section right here, and I'm highlighting this in green. Those are your social media icons. Now, it's going to look a little different for some of you guys. It depends on kind of the template that's been used on your site, the overall look of your site. But some of our newer work, more recently, looks a bit more like this, and there's multiple icons here. How many of you guys recognize some of these icons that are circled in green? These are fairly universal. Maybe some of them aren't as commonplace. What's this first one right here? It's a Facebook icon, right? This one right here. The second one is Twitter, right? How about this one? It's like a little camera. You know what this one is? That's Instagram. Okay, Instagram. Some of you guys use Instagram, some of you don't. That's what that is. This one right here is called Tumblr. T-U-M-B-L-R, Tumblr. Let me see. I had Tumblr up a few minutes ago. I might bring it up again. This one right here is for Pinterest. The little P. This one right here is for Google+, and then the last one is obviously YouTube, as it says YouTube. So these are icons that we put on as just sort of a standard. It doesn't mean you have to have a Tumblr account. It doesn't mean you have to have a YouTube account. These are just the ones we put on here in most cases. I'm going to show you today how to link these to the appropriate place, as well as how to delete them or manipulate them a little bit, because when we put them on, we just link to sort of just like the Facebook homepage or the Twitter homepage, Instagram homepage. What this is designed to do is it's supposed to take people to your business Instagram account or your business Facebook page or your business Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, whatever. Right? That's the whole point of having those social media icons there. Now, when do you need to have this done? Well, I would argue probably right at the time you launch your website, you want these linked up correctly, or shortly thereafter. Because, you know, when you launch a website on the internet, you don't just automatically see gobs of people flowing into your site, right? It's not at all like Black Friday when people are crowded outside of the building, practically pushing their way inside the store, and when they open up the door finally, people come pouring into the store. That does not represent a launch on the internet, not even close. The launch on the internet is more you go out there and turn the open sign on your store, and then you look out in the distance and you see people driving by on the freeway, and you're just crossing your fingers hoping that somebody sees your site and comes into it. That's a bit more like a launch on the internet because nobody knows who you are. And so that's why I say you don't necessarily have to have all of these created and linked up at launch. You could do it after you launch the site, but at some point in the near future, it should be done. And so I want to just show you real briefly, just very practically speaking, how to actually create the links on those icons, okay? And do you have to have them? That's actually an interesting question, Susan. Do you have to have social media accounts? Definitely not. Definitely not. But a good marketer is going to. A good marketer is at least going to have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, maybe an Instagram account later. Do you need them all? No, you don't need them all. But at least you got to have something on Facebook, I would say, early in the game, and then you can start adding some of these other ones later. If you're not a big social media person, you don't have to have any of these at all. It's just really helpful for your marketing. That's all. All right, so let me erase all my drawings here. And let me show you if you're logged into a site. So I'm here on a test site, right? I'm logged in. I've already logged in, and I know I'm logged in for two reasons. One, up here at the top right of the screen, I've got this little thing going on up here with this black box. I can toggle to have it fly out, and then I can hit the X to close it. So I know I'm logged in. I also know I'm logged in when I roll my mouse over something. I always get this big blue edit box showing up. Okay? See how I'm getting that on different places here? Well, I could come over here and click edit over my social media, and then I'm actually going to get a cursor here where I could, I can actually type in content, right? Of course, I'm not going to, but I'm just saying it gives me the capability of editing this section. I could even delete one of these. I could put my mouse, say, next to the Tumblr one, and I could hit the delete button or the backspace and usually pull out the Tumblr icon, okay? Now, but look, I mean, it's very finicky, okay? So, look, I was able to do it pretty easily on YouTube. I put my cursor right there, and I hit the backspace, and I deleted YouTube out just like that. And then I could delete Google Plus, although Google Plus isn't letting me delete it right now. So it's kind of finicky when you get in here. See if I can delete Facebook. Nope, not letting me delete Facebook. Oh, there it works now. Maybe I have to have the cursor in front of the icon. Anyway, you get my point. Yeah, looks like I have to have the cursor in front of it. But watch, I'll put my cursor in front of. Let's do it in front of Tumblr here, and then if I hit the backspace, it doesn't work. I'll put it in the or in the back of the Pinterest one and hit backspace. It doesn't work. Yeah, and that one doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's super finicky. So you could get over here and kind of try to play with this and delete things out or move these icons, but it's not really very good. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Your best bet, if you want to sort of manipulate these and change, delete them out or change the links associated with them, is you want to do it in the code of your site. Now, some of you, when I say in the code of your site, you're freaking out inside because you don't like to mess with the code or you don't know any HTML or CSS. But luckily, this is very easy to do, and I'm going to show you just how to do it. So let's go there and see if we can mess with it for a minute, okay? All right, so I'm going to go to my dashboard. Okay, many of you guys know how to get to your dashboard, right? You just come over here, you put your mouse over dashboard, and we'll click on it. When you're inside your Volusion dashboard, you want to go to design and then file editor right here, okay? Now, before we do anything in the file editor, I have said before that the file editor is the one place in Volusion we don't like our clients to go. And that's because you can make changes here that can cause massive issues on your site. Whenever you get into editing any code, deleting or adding code into something, it can completely break your site, right? So if you don't feel comfortable getting in here and even messing with that, then don't, and rather work with your coach on having them maybe get those links set up for you. Okay? If you would feel comfortable getting in here, then I'll allow you to do it. That's why I'm showing you this today. I want to show you how to manipulate this a little bit. But again, you have to be super careful. We don't want to break the site. And so if you feel like you might make a mistake, then here's my suggestion to you. Instead of trying to create the links yourself or delete out stuff yourself, create an email. And I'll create an email like I'll just show you what to put in this email so it's easy for your coach to to follow. Let's pretend this is my email box. Okay, and I'm going to say, Dear Trevor, or whoever the coach is. In my footer, so they know what you're talking about, in my footer of my site, I want you to link my social media accounts. Here are my links. 1, Facebook. 2, Twitter. 3, let's say you only have 3. 3, Instagram. Okay. Maybe those are the 3 that you want linked. Well, your coach can't do anything unless they have the URL of the page. Okay, so they need the Facebook business page URL. I've got an example here. I found Nike's Facebook page. Okay. In order to get your URL for your social media account, you need to find it on Facebook, and then you come right up here to the very top of the screen. You see where I'm at right now? Right up here. I'm going to circle this in bright orange so you can't miss it. This right here. I know that's kind of small, but can you guys all see that very well? That's the URL. That's up in the address bar of your site. See, if I'm sitting on my business Facebook page, and we're going to pretend right now that this Nike page is my business page, then I would go look up in the URL here, and I would copy this web address, okay? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to copy it so I've got it. Okay, let me erase this real quick. And then I'm going to go back to my email that I was just composing for my coach, and I'm going to paste it right here so that they've got the URL. See that? That's the URL for my Facebook page. That way the coach can easily take that and actually create the link within Volusion. You also need to do that with your Twitter account in this case. So I've found Nike's Twitter, which is right here, and I'm going to come up here to the top, and I'm going to grab this URL right up here. And then I'm going to go back to where I was a second ago in my email, and I'm going to paste in that URL. So now the coach has the Twitter URL, and we could do the same with Instagram if we wanted, okay? But the bottom line, your coach can't do anything unless they have the web address of each one of those pages. So make sure that you get that to them. And I would probably argue most of you should go down this route. I'd rather your coach in looking at the code of your site than you in there looking at the code. Because like I said, even one character can mess everything up at once. And that's why I've always said don't go into the design file editor portion of the site. But here I am nonetheless, breaking the rules with you guys, right? So design, file editor, and here we are. If you were doing the code and manipulating yourself, let me just show you what you would do. And if you're very careful about this, this won't cause a problem at all. So first of all, I'm going to come over here to template. There's usually a template file. It's not all going to look the same or say the same thing for you, but it's this one right here. It's the top one at the top right. This one is template_263.html. So I'll go ahead and grab that. And I'm just going to click on it. And that's going to bring up the main coding of the site. And I'm going to just zoom in just a little bit so you can see what this looks like. This is the code of the site right here. And looking at this, aren't you glad you're not a web developer, right? Aren't you glad you don't have to know this code? It's always a testament to how smart these web developers are when you read through their code, because you think to yourself, how in the world does this make up a website? But it does. So that's the code there. Now, I'm going to keep scrolling. Scroll. Okay, so this is all of the code. Let me go back up to the top. I just wanted to show you how much code was actually there. Scroll. Anyway, so on and so forth. I keep scrolling up to the top. So this is the code of the site. Now, within this code, there's going to be information about your footer section. And you know how I find that information most quickly? I do a Control F or a Command F, and I get this little search option on my browser. Okay? And I can actually use that to quickly find the word Facebook on this page. So if I put in Facebook, watch how it immediately goes down into the code and it finds Facebook, okay? And here it is right here. This section here is my Facebook icon section. So what I would do is I would come in here and I would find where the link is, and the link is right here. That's the existing link. Because if you went out onto the website right now and just simply clicked on that Facebook icon, it would take you over to facebook.com. Of course, we don't want that to happen. This is our site. So we want to replace this URL with our new URL, with our personal or our business Facebook page. And so like I was showing you just a minute ago, you would go to Facebook, grab that URL and copy it, and then go back in to this section right here, and we would actually paste it over this existing address. Okay? Now this link that's been created is actually going to go to facebook.com/Nike. So all I did is I found my Facebook business page URL and pasted it right here into the code. With all these hundreds, if not thousands of lines of code, the only way to effectively find where the Facebook section was to do a Control F or a Control Find, or if you're on a Mac, Command F, and I could quickly search the code for Facebook and then drop it in there. Okay? Once you've actually found the footer section here, it's actually easy. You can find the other items because they're all next to each other. Here's the Twitter one right here. And there's the Twitter address right here. I could paste in my Twitter URL there. And then I could scroll down here and I could find the, whatever the next one is. Oh, the next one is Instagram. Okay. I could paste in my Instagram link. And then here's the next one, Tumblr right here, and here's the Tumblr link. Okay, this is actually where you would paste in the Instagram link right here. Usually the link is prefaced with this little bit of code right here, href equals, and then with a quotation mark, href equals with quotation, and then you put in the link. So there's Tumblr right here, here's the Pinterest, and then here's your Google Plus right here. And again, you don't need all of these necessarily. They're just put in there by default for you. There's YouTube. Now, if you wanted to delete one of these out, it'd be very simple. You would just grab all of the code for that one item, which looks like that. If I wanted to delete out the Google Plus section, all of that code, I would delete it and it would be gone off the website. But you can see why this can get a little confusing. If you're not familiar with working in code, you might delete the wrong thing while you're deleting this out. Or you might put the web address, the URL, in the wrong spot, maybe. So again, my advice to you, if you want your footer linked appropriately, I don't think I would advise you to go in here and mess with this kind of stuff unless you've done it before. I would much rather you gather the URL for each one of those social media pages and email it to your coach and let them fix it. Either they'll fix it or the web developers will fix it and will ensure that it gets done the right way without breaking anything on your site, which is probably the ideal way. But for those of you guys who might be more on the advanced side or don't mind working in a little bit of code, this is what you can do to fix that. And let me repeat again, with all the social media icons that show up by default in some of our newer designs, you don't need a social media page for all of these. We could delete out some of them. You could just leave them there for the time being. I'm not so worried about that, especially upon launch, because most of you guys aren't getting gobs of traffic anyway. So it can be something that maybe later we build a Facebook business page, or we build out an Instagram page a little later and then link it there. You know, that might be the best approach. Okay? Okay, but you do want it in your footer, right? Because you know the nice thing about having something like that in your footer is it doesn't matter what page your prospective buyers and customers find you in, whether it be on a product page, a category page, or on a home page, they can always find your social media stuff there right at the bottom of the site because it shows up. If it's in the footer by default, that means it shows up on every single page of your site. All right? Okay, well, I hope that helped. You got my recommendations there. Let's get this done. Thanks for coming along and seeing us talk a little bit about web design and Volusion, and we will see you guys all next week for some more Volusion training. Thanks again.